Good morning, guys. It is Monday and it's Monday Morning Chats with Sack, and Sack is me. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. And if you do celebrate Easter, I hope that you were still able to celebrate in spite of everything that's going on in the world. So I thought about the things that I wanted to talk about today. Like, what can I possibly talk about? And I wanted to talk to you about a poem that I wrote, oh my God, 14 years ago. And before I do these Monday morning chats with Sack, I'm always thinking about what can I say. And I say, you know what? I'm going to talk about this. So October 1st, 2006, I wrote this poem called Something I Can't Help Myself. And the poem talked about being in love with a young man. And it talked about the emotions that I had, all these emotions that was going through my mind. And sometimes I wanted to express myself and sometimes I held back. And I felt like I wasn't at that point to express myself fully because of the feeling of being hurt. And because of that feeling, I just said, you know what? If it's love, I don't want it. But I was 19 at that time. And I read that poem at 33, and I just said, wow, what if I really spoke these words over myself as a 33-year-old woman? And what if I held true to those words and said, hey, I'm not going to love again? But I was 19. I didn't know what the world was like. I didn't even have a real job. I was working as a math tutor in college. I was not exposed to the world. So how can I possibly know all these things at 19? I didn't. It was just imagination. It was my idea. But I spoke those things to myself at 19. And I just kept saying, wow, if I held true to those words, where would I be now? And it's not just in any type of intimate relationship, but relationships in general. Can I be open to establish, business partners? And the most important thing in that poem that I wrote was the ability to trust someone. And at that time, I believed that I couldn't trust a man. But I was 19. I mean, I had a boyfriend in college. It was off and on. Horrible relationship. I think if I had to label a relationship, that'd probably be like a bad relationship. But I've learned from it. It was a great learning experience, like really great learning experience. And I just said, wow, I said that when I was 19. I thank God that I don't think like that now at 33. Moving forward, after I graduated from college and I went right to law school, I never forget this one drive to the library. Yes, I used to go to the library all the time. And it was my girlfriend, Cheryl, really close friend. She's like a big sister to me. And we're driving. She's like, how do you like law school? I'm like, it's okay. It's hard, but it's okay. She was a year ahead of me. And she was like, I love you. You're like a little sister to me. But I feel like you have some ice around your heart you need to chip away. And I see the beauty in you, but no one can't see it if you have it all closed in. And just do me a favor. Just chip away little by little. Because you're never going to experience life the way you want to if you have ice around your heart. And I had to really sit in those words and say, wow, okay, I get it. And I went to the library, did my work, I focused on my work, and then I came back home and those words really resonated with me. And then we had a follow-up conversation about everything that was said. But she spoke life over me. Even though she saw some flaws, and everybody has flaws, she spoke life over me in spite of the flaws. And I'm so thankful for her because that conversation, it really changed my trajectory on life about how I see things, especially with relationships. And that was a person I was able to confide in about things like, hey, I'm feeling this way, and what do I do when I feel this way, or how should I go about this? And that was the person that I was able to talk to about things. And I felt comfortable and I felt safe. And so my question to you is, it's very important to speak life over yourself in spite of everything that you may encounter. But who's the person that's speaking life into you? There's some times where you're weak, and there's some times where you're unable to tell yourself good things. You don't have the strength to do so. And it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay not to be strong all the time. But who's that person to say, hey, you know what? You don't have to be strong today. You don't have to put on the cape today. I have your back. I got you. And Sherelle was that person at the time. And she spoke life over me and was like, hey, you got this. You're cool. You're great. And who's that person for you? Who's that person that's saying, hey, I got you? And it's hard sometimes. If you're a person that's so used to doing things by yourself, or just had this idea of someone's going to break a promise, sometimes it's hard to trust someone. It's not saying that you don't want to really trust that person. You just had this idea that they're going to let you down. But do you have that person that say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be that stand-up guy, or I'm going to be that stand-up female in your life. If you need me, I'll be there. I'm going to speak life over you. Who's that person in your life? Who's that person that you can go to and say, hey, I need your help? Or, hey, I need you to speak positive things over me, because right now, the way I'm feeling, I just can't, and it's hard for me. And that's who Sherelle was for me in law school. And then once I got out of law school, one of my closest, my favorite cousin, one of my favorite cousins, that was her once I came out of law school. And she will hold me accountable. She will put me in my place. If I say something that's out of line, she would check me right then and there. And that's how you grow. You need someone that's going to speak life over you. You need someone that's going to tell you when you're wrong. If my cousins never told me when I was wrong, I would never be the person I am today. I'm not afraid to talk about my flaws. I'm not afraid to say, hey, my name is Sakina Tillman. I could tell you about all my accolades in my life, but I made a lot of mistakes. And my mistakes made me who I am. I'm not afraid to talk about my failures. I'm not afraid to talk about, hey, I did this wrong one day. Or, hey, I messed up big time. But it made me who I am today, and I'm appreciative of that. But I was able to get through those hurdles in my life by having great people by my side and learning to, I had to learn how to speak life into myself first, learn how to have self-love, learn to say, hey, you know what? Even though I don't get it right now, I'm going to eventually get it. And then having friends that will speak life for me and say, hey, I know you talked about this, but you're going to get there. So who's that person in your life? I'm just so thankful that poem that I wrote on October 1st, 2006, I didn't believe those words to be true. At that moment, I thought it was. At that moment, I thought that, hey, I would never love again. And I eventually did. But I'm thankful that I never held true to those words. And if I did, life will be totally different. And so the question I have for you, what are you speaking over your life? Be careful what you say out of your mouth, because the words that come out of your mouth is so powerful. And the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So you have to be cautious of what you say. Like, don't speak negative things over your life. If you want that job, say, hey, I'm going to apply for that job and I'm going to get it. If I get a rejection letter, hey, I'm going to just try again. And if I get another rejection letter, hey, I'm going to try again. Don't tell yourself, hey, I can't do this. Hey, I'm a failure. I'm not good at this. And, it's funny because I look on social media and I see so many people that are quote unquote relationship experts, but they never been married before. I really don't get that. Like, how can you really tell me about being married and you never walk down the aisle? Never. And I'm grateful for my friends that are married. I'm grateful for my friends that got divorced. I'm grateful for the people I have in my life that's been married for over 50 years. And they give me wisdom. And it's something that I appreciate. And they give me, they speak life over me. And so you have to have those people in your corner that's going to speak life over you. And try your best not to speak death over your life. I think that's important. Whatever you want, you really can get that. If you want that relationship, you can actually get it. But I think the most important thing is to stay true to yourself. Know and believe that you can do whatever you want. You can get exactly what you want in your life. And some things will come with a price, meaning hard work. You may have to work for it. Like, I'll see people that will say, hey, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a nurse. And I would hear all these things in college. And they would take one class And they would give up because they didn't get the grade that they wanted. So they would take an easy option. They would take another major that was slightly easier and something for them to get by. And now they're in their profession and they keep saying, if I only did this 5 years ago, if I only did that 5 years ago. And what I'm telling you, if you're that person, that's okay. You can still go back to school. You can still go back and major in the whatever major you wanted to major in years ago when you first started school. If you want that child, you can have that child. If you want that man or woman, you can probably have that person. But speak life over yourself. If you want love, you can actually get it. But I think that you have to love yourself first. Like, you have to say, hey, I love myself, because you can't love someone else and you can't love you first. True story. I never forget, I met this guy and he kept telling me, hey, I just want to make you happy. And I would hear him talk about how he was unhappy at work. He did not like his work schedule. He barely had time for himself. And he wanted to move back to his hometown. And when we have conversations, I'm a very happy person. Like, hey, how's it going? Hey, I hope that you're doing well. And I hope that you had a great day. What was so exciting about your day? And this just is the person that I am. I get up happy. And it was just all negative. And every time I talked to him, I felt like it lowered my spirits. Like, soon as he opened his mouth, I'm like, oh God, I feel like this negative energy seeping into my soul. And he will always speak negative about his life and how he hated his life. And I said, hey, why don't you make a change? Why don't you do this? If you're off on the weekends, hey, do this, do that. And he will always say, yeah, I guess. But I just really want to make you happy, Sakina. And I said, I really appreciate that, that you want to make me happy. But I will be less of a woman if I allowed you to do that to me. Allow you to make me happy and you're unhappy. So I want you to work on your happiness first. And after you work on that, if I'm still in your life, great. If not, then at least you know that you did something that was most important. You loved yourself first before you were able to give love to someone else. And no, that person is not in my life at all. But that was important. Like, I wanted him to be happy, and you wasn't happy. And you can't be with somebody and try to make them happy if you're not happy. And so another segment that I wanted to say is that we go through trauma in our life. We go through various things in our life. And I would want to tell you this. If you have childhood trauma in your life, recognize it and be okay with it and figure out a way to heal from it. Maybe you may need a therapist. Maybe you may need self-healing. I'm reading a book called Healing Heterosexual Relationships Through Time, Touch, and Talk. And when I say that it's a great book, I'm almost done. And it talks about self-healing. And if you want great relationships, you have to really figure out the childhood trauma that you're dealing with and figure out, how do you heal from it? How do you overcome it? And sometimes you can't do it by yourself. Maybe you need a mentor. You need a therapist to help you get through that. Because if you allow chaos to keep circling through your life, you're not breaking any generational curses. So 1, speak positive over yourself in spite of everything that you have going on. 2, you may need a group of friends, or you just may need that friend that's going to speak life over you. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be superwoman or Superman all the time. You don't need that red cape, that imaginary red cape all the time. It's okay to just be you. And 3, healing. It's so important to get the love that you want. I think you have to love yourself. But you have to love yourself with everything that comes with you. Flaws and all. I make mistakes. Sometimes my tone may not be the right delivery. One eyebrow is shorter than the other. My shape up is good, but sometimes it gets messed up depending on who's cutting my hair. I don't know. I don't know everything. I don't want to know everything. What I do know, I'm great at what I know. I love, and when I do love, I love really hard. I'm a family person. My cousins think I'm a jerk at times because I speak my mind. But I also am very loving. So I have flaws. I'm not perfect. And I want you to understand it with you. But in order to get to healing, you got to really love yourself and everything that comes with you. I hope that this was very helpful for you guys. I hope that you guys have a great Monday. I hope that you guys have a fantastic week. And just know that you are possible. You are amazing. You could do anything that you put your mind to. And speak positive words over yourself. Take care, guys.